Hi guys, it's Faye and welcome back to my channel. So first of all I want to say Happy New Year. I hope you guys enjoyed the holidays. I know I did, hence why I missed posting last Monday because it was New Year's Eve and I was doing New Year's Eve stuff, so yeah. So I guess we'll get into the video now. So I guess you've seen that we are talking about world building. Woo! I know it's not everyone's favourite subject, but it is mine, so. Right, so 5 world building tips. Now, again, I'm going to specify this is my opinion, and definitely I'm not telling you that if you're not doing this or whatever that your story is going to be, I don't know. Like, it's just my opinion, what I think creates good world building. Also, this is based on fantasy, and we're talking more fantasy where you're creating your own world rather than fantasy that takes place in, say, our world currently. So yeah, let's get in. Number 1, create a map. Now, it sounds super basic, like, oh, but why do I need a map? Because I know that this place is here and it's there and da 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 da. And it's like, great, but it's quite easy to lose track. Now, it doesn't have to be a professional map, it can be doodles on a page, but it's to keep track of where everything is. Say you're writing in this amazing kingdom, you've got your home where your main character lives, and they need to travel across the map to the big kingdom where there's a massive war. I have no idea, I'm making this crap up. So, the use of the map is to get from point A to B whilst knowing what's in the middle. So you're like, oh yeah, well I know that the elf camp is about here and the barbarians live in this outskirts, like, great, but you'll probably lose track of it. And if you have a map, you can guess the distance almost. So obviously I'm not saying in your book you should say, oh yeah, and it was 100 paces to the elf camp, but it's just to keep track of it basically. Which leads us nicely into number 2, which is plotting your character's movements. Now, we've created our map. We're going from point A to point B via X, Y and Z, right? If you plot your character's movements, you can basically plot out your book. Now, obviously, if you're a pantser, everything I'm saying is probably just terrifying you, and that's fine. I'm not saying you have to do it, but I find it really helpful. So, say in your first chapter, or your first 5 chapters, you're in point A. Your MC's home. I don't know, whatever. So you can say that you've got 5 chapters there. You've then got 2 chapters in between point A and point X. You know, and you can just mark where they are and what kind of happens. So then you're outlining in the most basic way. It's like if you go on a road trip or if you're driving anywhere, you need to know where you're going, what route you're going to take and what towns you're going to go through, what time, because of rush hour. That's getting a bit deep, but it's like plotting out a route. In fact, it is plotting out a route, but it's a make-believe route. So yeah, I just think it's really helpful. It's easy to keep track of characters that way. You can also add little tags as to any characters you'll be introducing, like where do they live, you know, where are we meeting them along the way, you know. You can even split it into your structure. If you're using a 3-act structure, you can have Act 1 from here to here, Act 2 from here to here, Act 3 from here to the end. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a good way of keeping track. Number 3. So this may not seem important in your made up world, in your fantasy story, but please remember to fact check. Now, fantasy, there is a massive opening to do your own thing, which is why I think it's becoming so popular within the writing community. Great. But if you're talking about, for example, the other day I was writing and I was talking about a specific tree. Now, I had to look up this tree and I had to look up what it would look like in the season I was talking about. You know, it's something that's so minor and people who read the story probably won't notice as much, but it helps with consistency. It's fact-checking things like seasonal items. If you're, I don't know, if you're creating a new world and winter is summer and summer is winter, that's confusing, but go ahead. But you need to just keep in mind that you are going to need to fact check things. Even if it's to do with fact checking off of your fact sheet. So remember that fantasy has rules, but you make the rules. So just keep to them. Number 4. Now, this is something that I know a lot of people don't really think about. It's delving deeper than kind of needed to be, but also not, because you need to think about it. I'm talking about religion and politics. Now, if you're making your own world, you need to think that there is not going to be one political stance, there is not going to be one religion, because that's just not how it works. Say you've got loads of different characters, lots of different creatures, lots of different species, whatever. You know, I can't imagine that humans will worship the same god or deity or whatever you want to call it as a troll would, you know? So you need to keep in mind that there's not going to be one ruling body. Look at our world. You've got different parties, different opinions and different beliefs, just across the board. So even if you're going to make up your political stance and you're going to invent a religion, which is actually really fun, by the way, just saying, you need to make sure that unless you're in one town for your whole book, you know, you're gonna experience, even if it's just little pinches of other culture. So it's just something that people need to keep in mind, because if you go across this make-believe world and everyone follows one government and everyone believes in one god, like, it's a bit, as my best friend would say, beige. So and then it takes us to number 5. Something to think about, which a lot of people don't, is currency. Your MC might be going across this world and they're buying these supplies because you need stuff in general. You're buying supplies or you're paying to stay in an inn. I don't know the plot of this story. I'm literally making it up as I go along. But different places have different currencies. Different species might have different currencies. Think of it as if you, let's go very stereotypical with, your MC lives in a city. In a lot of stories you do see people getting away with just calling it coin and trading with coin. Absolutely fine. But say again we're talking about different species. I can't see woodland elves trading with the same thing that humans trading. For example, say we used coin in the human towns, but then we go into the woods and we meet a tribe of woodland elves. We need to buy supplies from them, but they don't trade via coin, they trade via livestock. I don't know, maybe diamonds, because they're located near a cave full of diamonds and they all have loads of diamonds. I don't know, maybe they trade via twigs. I don't know, they're elves. I'm not, so it's just thinking about the necessities of how and why, which is a massive thing when it comes to world building. You need to know how this stuff's gonna happen and why. Basically, if you do that, you're good. Everything else is like icing on top of the cake. Now, obviously, I've gone quite, well, not really in depth, but I've gone quite in depth about the things that I expect to see. Now, I'm basing this off of the world building that I'm doing for a book series I'm planning. So it'll be across multiple books. Now, I would recommend if you are planning on writing a book series in your own world, you probably need to go in depth as well. It's just safe. Even if you don't use it, it's good to have it. If it's a standalone book, you probably don't need to go as in depth as I would, but I'm a bit crazy when it comes to world building. You're welcome. Basically, if it's a standalone book, you probably don't need to go into tons of details about the multiple religions and the different currencies in each place, but you probably need to just brush on it. You know what I mean? Maybe it becomes an inconvenience because your MC can't enter a certain building because they don't believe in the same things that they do. You know, they can't buy supplies in a certain place because they don't have the trading currency. You know, just small things to think about. But I am going to wrap it up here. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. You know, let me know if this has helped. Feel free to subscribe. I'll be posting every Monday. Until next time, guys. Bye. So first of all,